Yes, you can do that. Oh, and that's another way we can check ourselves. Hold on a sec. We can, and let me hide that for a minute. Okay, so if you're unsure about what's technically correct, you can always turn it upside down and check yourself, right? There. Another way to check ourselves. Go around. Well, you know what? It always it doesn't look like it's finished. We're mapping out values. That's what we're doing. So it's gonna show you a little bit. It might show you a little bit on that side. That's like a mental flow. I'm really using this thing so much. I can't see it like I got it here, right? I got it there. I'm having a hard time. This is red. No. See, these two lines have to be parallel. This line, this, and this is the here, right? Cool. You can eliminate. But it's just enough that you really get off that. Verticals are always vertical. Verticals are always have this. We're gonna eliminate one of them, okay? And you're just gonna do one. So instead of, because I think that that is easy. No, what happened? Here, okay. Yeah, I have that one in there, but we're gonna, eliminate it. Right? And then you'll just have this book in there. That should, yeah, that'll give you information. We'll just, yep, okay. All right. All right, so now put in the dark values. Put in the darkest dark. Okay. And then we're gonna block out some color. Okay. This back to right. Actually, I am. While you guys are working on that, I'm gonna mix up some. Well, actually, I'm just gonna do my light. I'll do a light color. Put in. But first, oh, let me take this out of the equation because we don't need that. And I'm gonna put that back up here. And I am going to take a look at the colors I need to mix. I'm going to go get some colors and I'll be right back. All right, let me take this and that. And okay, here we go. So for my lights, I think I'm going to be pretty neutral. I think I'm just going to use Yep. What brand is it? Is it Liquitex? Yeah. Some colors in the Liquitex, even if they're new, can be rocky. Like the sky blue in the first one can be a little rocky. And sometimes I found the same thing with even sometimes the cobalt colors sometimes can be a little bit rocky. I would say maybe brown or yeah. Sometimes when you mix it with like medium, it doesn't help. Oh, and here I have here those medium. And I'll show you this. This is what you can use to trim your paint. It comes out as like a white kind of wood, and but it's not clear. Make your paint more viscous or glide easier uh, without making it really, really watery. So it's pretty nice to. All right. So let's see. All right. So I'm going to mix a light. So I have some white that I'm going to take for now. And I'm going to mix a touch of, I'll mix a little bit of the burnt sienna with it, and maybe a little bit of the blue. I'm not sure. Let's see. A little bit of it. It'll be kind of a grayed out white. Touch of maybe a little bit on the warmer side here. Yeah, I like that. This, I don't know. Show you. All right, here we go. Okay. All right, so it's very, very faint. It's barely tinted, what I have here. But I just wanted to have a touch of warmth in that light there so that I could block in some of the lighter lights. So I'm going to go back to my reference and going to put that in. I'm going to use some of this medium and mix a little bit of that in with my paint so that it glides better without watering it down too much. And let's see, I think I'm going to start on with the inside of this bowl here because that's pretty bright. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not using a stark white. I don't really want a stark white because, you know, that will, it just doesn't look, just not that pleasing to the eye. Let's see, some of that in, and you can see how this is going to automatically start to come to life. And this is on the other side, it's um, a little bit darker. So what I can do is I'm going to take of some of that I just mixed. Let's see. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller here so you can see my palette better. There. Oh, no. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to mix in, and I might make this a little bit cooler of a shadow. So that's a little bit darker. I think I want it to be a little bit more neutral, so I'll add some more of that, the sienna in there, and a little bit more white. It got a little bit too dark. I don't want it too dark. Yep. There we go. So here, put this in. I still think I need, you know what? I need it to be a little bit cooler over there. So, hold on a sec. I need this to be bigger. I need to be able to see that better. And you know what? I think I am going to zoom in on this bowl for a sec. Bring that in. Zoom in on that. Okay. Because I see some of these kisses in here and well, actually, they're kind of almost the same color as the bowl. So, all right. So I can always add those back in later. I'll still see some of the drawing underneath, probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't care. All right. So I'm going to take that, bring that in, and here I have this part of the bowl. More water. Okay. And let's see. So I want this. Need to bring this out more because, well, all right, here we go. So here I am taking the liberty of making a correction on the fly to my bowl, on the shape of my bowl there. Take that. All right, so that's a bit better on that shape. Okay, I think I want this to go a little bit more lighter opaque on this side. There we go. So it's nice to have just this light on the bowl here coming through. Now I could do more layers, but for now I think this is good. And the one thing I'm looking at is the temperature. Like there are some areas here where there might be a little bit more of a bluish tone to me, especially over here. So I'm going to mix a little bit of blue with it, and I'm going to put that color in my bowl a little bit more there, that blue. So I put a little bit more blue in there. Oh yeah, that is really nice. And this needs to be a little bit lighter, so I'm going to put that in. And around this rim here is a little bit lighter as well. So there, I'm adding some more dimension to that. And it looks like underneath this bowl, well, it's reflecting the color of the tablecloth, right? So, but for now, I'm just going to add some of the highlights in here. I could always change those colors, the actual color later. But for now, I think I just want to put this light in on the edge of the bowl. It's like this little triangle, so I'm just going to mark that in. And I see some light. I see a shape of light over here that I'd like to put in. It's right here. Okay. But here. That. And then there's this kind of a shape here. Now that looks like it's a little bit too bright. So I'm going to go back in with the darker shade. Put that in. Let's make it a little bit darker. Because I constantly have to compare. And to me, this does look, even though there's the impression that it's pretty light, it's actually a bit darker. So here we go. So plop that in. There's a little bit here, a little bit there. And a little bit of a light spot here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to zoom out because I want to see where my other lights are. Oh, actually, I'm going to go down to, all right. If I compare, see that edge of the book there is really bright. So I can block that color in, block in that shape. Block in the shape of the light here. It's kind of like a wedge towards the bottom there.
On your slide that's on your palette, so I can see how much color you have actually.
Oh, yeah. Let me put that on here.
Oh, it's pretty much white. It just has
yeah, it has a little bit, it has some of the burnt sienna in it with the cerulean blue, a touch of that. So it's a bit neutral, but it's more on the creamy side, like a little bit more on, it's got a touch of warmth in it. And hold on, I am going to, let's put this up so I can see the kisses really quick. All right, so now with the kisses, there is some brighter white, brighter lights. So I can mark where that is. And automatically, these are gonna pop more. So I got a bright over there. There's a little bit of light over here, but it's not quite as bright as on the other side. But there is a touch of warmth there. So I wanna make sure I put that in there. Also underneath here, like this. And the other kiss is, it seems a lot cooler on the bottom of it. So, because this is in shadow. So I'm going to put that in. Walk that in. Take some medium. Mix that, make it a little bit more translucent so I could see through it. But it's got a cool tone to it. So I added a little bit more blue there. And there's a cooler light on the light part in this kiss here. So where you could see just a little bit of the front of it. Let's see. I can zoom in. Now let me just show that. Okay. I'll move this palette over here. All right. Zoom out a sec. Okay. So more lights, that's what we want to put in. So the top of the books, the top of this book here is pretty light. I'm gonna mix that. Look in this white, this light here. Now later on I could add more color to these lights, but again for now I just want to kind of block them in. And this will really help now get our values correct. So we have this darker light back here. So I can put that in. This is all just putting in some of those shadows. Light, you know, the lights. Some of the other light values, but they're not, some of them are cool and some of them are warm. So I'm just adjusting whether or not they're warm or cool. Like the warmer ones have, the warmer lights have a little bit more burnt sienna. The cooler have a little bit more of the blue. And where they need to be a little bit darker, of course, we put in, you know, more of the pigment. Okay. All right, so let's see. So now on the glass, actually, so we got the top of that book. Now, part of it's that the local color has more blue, right? On top of this Van Gogh. So while I have it out, I can just go ahead and block that in. And actually, some of that goes through the glass. So I can actually put that into and continue that through, which I know is obscuring part of the glass there, but um, that's okay because we'll be going over that again. But it's nice to be able to show that, since it's a transparent object, see what's behind it. And there is some of this blue tone, and it kind of comes around this way, so I could kind of be sketchy about that. It's a little bit mottled behind it, so I can use a sketchy mark with my brush and just kind of, I'm not going to be really detailed. I'm just kind of making sure I throw in or make some kind of reference to that color there because I have it on my brush. And then two, we even have that down here. Now this might not include all the blue that we see in there, but here we go. I can plop that in. We're going to have pretty much it's going to be a largely primary, I think, color scheme here. So having the blues there and just putting them in. Oh, and there's even a touch of maybe even a little bit of burnt sienna warmth right on that side of that glass. I could just put that in now while I'm there. Let's see. So I didn't do any of the lights on the glass. All right, so let's go to the glass and make some reference to these lights. There's a light. Let's zoom in. Okay, so let's go to all right. Okay, so I see some light inside of this glass here that I can make a reference to, even on the bottom of the bowl, coming up the side. And it might be even a little bit duller, maybe even a little cooler than what I'm reading here, so I can go back in and make that a little bit duller. Now there's going to be some other blends in there that I'm going to have to put in later. So not all of these lights are, they're not bright white. We have a tendency to want to, make all of our lights really white, and that's really not the way to go. Like I see a lot of blue in some of these lights right now. So I'll put that in. I could always brighten it up later. But what I do want to do is make sure that and in this part right here, I'm going to try to be thinner with my paint. Reference there. Gotta blend it out a bit. And let's see. It's even darker. There's a darker kind of reflection over here. Here I'm just going to make some reference to the light, bright marks on, towards on the rim of the glass. You can see some shine marks. So I'm just going to put a few of those in. I'm going to revisit it later. For now, I can put the mark it out. Drag along that rim there. And so it's going to it'll start to come alive. Make a little reference to the light from the gold over here. Let's see. Here. There's a little bit of a mark over here. And it looks pretty blue along this line. And I might want to make this a little bit. So again, my colors might not be perfect, but I know where it's going to be going. I can always make those adjustments later. Right now, I just want to make sure that I have a reference to where my lights are, my major lights. Here, see this spot over here is very blue. That shine mark on the glass, so I can plop that in. Please. I know what the shape of that is, so just go for it there. And let's see. And along the bottom of the glass here, base, colors.
What is the blue that you use?
It's just cerulean blue and a little bit of burnt sienna. I'll have to go back into that, but I just wanted to make a reference to some of the blues that I was seeing in there since I already kind of had it here. This actually looks pretty like cool in tone. So are there any lights, really bright lights that I feel like I'm missing? Oh yeah, the spine of this book here is pretty light. Okay, so I do have to put that in, but it's not going to be quite as bright as the top of the book. So I do have to make sure that that's not as bright. So here we go. I'll start out darker, and then I'll see where I need to go. Okay. Now, as I'm negative painting around that stem. Actually, I don't have to negative paint around the stem. I could actually just go through, make a glaze and go right through the stem because it's, transparent. And just by adding some, shadow colors on it, I'll be able to get that the stem of the glass back. I can see through. I could see. I know enough about that to be able to get that back later. So make sure I have. I think I'm going to hold off on doing too much with the stem of the glass because there's a lot of things that, you can see through that. So I don't really want to put too much, except for some of the blues, the bluer lights. Maybe I'll just add some of those and some of the, fainter shine marks. Triangle there. If I see a shape, I'll do it. I'm only going to do the lights of like bigger shapes, not real tiny things. Not the real tiny details. Just enough there to, give the, a good impression of what this should look like. Okay, so I'm marking the major shine marks. There is a bright spot here on the stem. I could probably mark that out and be fine. The stem of the glass is the trickiest. All those little shine marks on there, all the shine shapes. Can always we can always make adjustments to them. See, that's some of it's probably too bright, but I could always tone that down. In fact, I could tone it down now. I know that this looks a little bit cooler, so I'll take some of the blue, the grayish blue, and I'll just add that to this side of that glass there, that part of the shine mark. And this is a little bit, I like that. There's all kinds of interesting types of shine marks that are going on this glass. There's little C curves that look cool. Glass transparency is just so much fun to try to capture. The trick is, not to overdo it. We want to give enough information, to give the impression that it's transparent, but maybe not so much that You know, that we give away the whole story. I love the way that looks. Somebody's being paged. All right. All right. So anyway, so it looks like, oh, you know what? See, the back, this back corner here, there's some light back there that I think I want to catch, and also here, that needs to be a bit lighter. So let's get that. I'm going to get that first. So I'm still kind of working in grayscale, but just adding a little bit of white to get my lights in. And I'm adjusting the temperature of those lights by either adding a little bit more burnt sienna or adding, uh, you know, cerulean blue. See, so I have some warmer gray here. I have some cooler gray there, but it's light. So here on this part of the book, it seems to be a lighter, you know, like a warmer kind of gray. So I'll pop that in. Now, there will be probably other colors that are reflected in here because remember, we got this beautiful, you know, burgundy colored tablecloth, right? So we want, you know, that those colors have to be reflected in our painting too. But for this first pass, I'm just keeping it kind of pretty neutral. Uh, Again, just so that I could get the overall establish, you know, where the cool lights are, where the warm lights are, and I could always add more color to them later. But I think that this makes the whole process a little bit easier. Let's see, I can make this adjustment here. Let's see. And I'm using really thin layers, especially in the background, because I want to save like thicker paint for uh, later on. Um, you know, when we're working on, you know, the topmost layers. Hmm? Okay. All right. So background. I'm gonna try this first. You know, that needs to be warmer and lighter. So I'm gonna put some warmer later, and I can almost get pretty close to what I see there visually just by using, you know, by using this monochromatic approach. It keeps it simplifies for us in a really, really nice way. And I see here how the glass refracted part of that book, and there's a little bit of light there where, and it's faint, so I might just pat it in a little bit. That gives the impression of that this book, when, you know, looking at it through the wine glass over here, it refracted it a little bit. So it visually jumps up a little. So I got to put it that shape in a little bit higher. And there I just made that more convincing. And here, let's see, in this shadow here, shadow shape that I put, it's more blue, right? Because see, now that is too bright. No, it's not a shadow. It's part of the design, but I included that in my grisaille. But now the way it looks to me, like I can go in and okay, so it looks a little bit bluer and it has some of the brown. So it looks like I can use some of the colors that I already have to, you know, put another layer on those. And then I see how it gets, you know, warmer this way. So I can take a little bit of the sienna, maybe with some white, and I can just put that in. Now later on, I can brighten that up with a brighter orange, but see, now I know, you know, just with the colors that I have, I know where I need to put that brighter orange because Well, like I said, yeah, the burnt sienna is dark orange, right? So if I put the burnt sienna there, then that's okay. And there's actually some yellow that comes in there, but uh, over this way. But I'll just put a little bit of that sienna opaque paint there, and I can put in some more of this blue. It looks cooler over here, and I can go back in and decide what colors I want to make that. Oh, the same thing with this spine. There's a brighter part there, and it's a little bit warm, so I can take, a warmer color and just, it's not really, really bright though, so I have to be careful. So I just want to put that in. I think that's just the right value that to match what I need. And I can put that in there. Now I could always again make that adjustment again later, but all right. And then it gets cool. Oh, it's okay. No problem. All right, so that looks like it's a little bit bluish there. Oh, and I have this shadow here. I need more of a neutral. I need to get that shadow in there better, and it's kind of more of a cool shadow. That in there. This warmth. Okay. I think I'm doing it right. And I have this brighter warm spot right over here. My paint's drying out already. I think the heat in here is really, yeah, it's a little hot, right? Hotter than usual. Usually it's freezing cold in here, but no, not so much. All right. Yes, I love that. That's going to be good. And this color carries on to the other side. I'm not going to pay attention to the text. We're not looking at that detail right now. But I can go over to the spine of this book. Oh, let's see, it's brighter up on top here, but it is a little bit grayer. So let's see, let's make that a little bit darker and bluer over here. This simple color palette that I'm using right now is going to take us pretty far, till we get to, the more brilliant reds and things. Um, there's genius in simplicity. So if we keep our color palette simple, oops, that puts us on an advantage. Put more of that in there. Let's see, that's better. And it's actually a bit cooler on the bottom here. Moving right along. Okay, so we have the grayed out spines of the books here. All right. Grayed out spines of books. What should I do? Let's see. I want to make sure that, the values are there. So I'm picking a cool gray first. And that looks pretty darn close to the value that it needs to be. I like that. Same thing here. The pages, side of that book, that's pretty much in shadow. It could use a deeper shadow on the one side. This is the side of the book where more neutral there. It's darker. Let's see what I didn't do that I should have done here. Let's see. This book here, on this part it's darker, so I'm going to put that there, that reference there. I think that works. And this is definitely, looks like a cooler shadow. So that has a little bit more blue in it. Could use a little bit lighter over here. Right? Touch more light over here. Blend that in a bit. Let's see, another spine. That's not a spine, but the book page is there because the actual underneath the jacket, the actual cover of that book is warm in color. So let's put that in first. And that's, you know, it's going to be mostly, let's see, burnt sienna with some of the blue, but mostly the sienna. And I can put that there. And then the spine, not the spine. I keep calling it the spine, but it's really not the spine. Let's wrap that up there. Okay, so I'm going to put a reference to that brown. That's going to have to be a little bit redder, but no problem. You can put that in later. Reference. Now I need some. Not too bad. And of course we have the book underneath. Has a lot of shadow, right? Now I know here I'm going to have to put a little highlight there. Definitely deeper. Now I know that the shadow here is pretty, it's a bit on the warm side. But there's some cool light in there. So make sure it's that. Well, let's see, on this spine right there. around this bowl. I got a negative paint there. That. Okay. Let's see. That. Put this one here. And yet. Oops. Alright, so I gotta make a correction. Gotta make a correction. Let's had to make a correction. Yep, that's going to be it. All right. Okay. And let's see. Look, I got that. Oh, that is going to be. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it looks like I got some light catching over here. Put that in. That might be a little, it might have been a little bit too dark, so I'll lighten that up. Let's see. And put some light catching over here. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna move over to these kisses because I have some brighter brights over here. Oh, that's not so bright. We gotta make it lighter. There. That. There's a couple little marks, but these are probably details that I could leave for later. But I'll put them in now since I know that they're there. Let's see. I got. Oh, here. Yep. It's a touch of blue in some of it though, so that's kind of what I'm trying to capture there. Yes. And haven't done anything with the bowl, you know, the body of the bowl yet. So next we're going to make some references to where the lights are, or where the lights. You got your grays and your blacks, right? Now, well, this could be darker, right? Um, lights in there, then this would firm up. Okay?
But you can't do that anymore. Yeah.
Like, white. Mixed in with the paint. So,
The fine edges. Like,
oh, well, it wasn't even small. A little bit, you know, if it comes out a little bit thicker than what it should be, then okay.
like, on the edges of the bowl.
I wouldn't necessarily.
I mean, I want to define the edge better, but I don't quite know how to do that.
Well, that's just really a series of lights and darks. And you do see how that's darker in value,
Yeah.
and there's some light there. Like that's pretty much how you would, but you know, sometimes you can't see it, you see. Well, or it's not as defined, but that's okay. So value wise, like I would say, up here there's a ton of ones, and they're not, you know, we don't really worry about that so much. What you have is really useful. All right, so we have some, there's some kisses in the bowl, but all it is marks, yeah, you don't have to worry about that detail.
So, I mean, what I like here, this is not what we defined. I don't know if you like that now.
Yeah, you can do that now to firm up the shape of the stem. Yeah.
And like, how about in here?
It does, except for a few lights, it predominantly does blend together. And what we do is later on, when we're putting in, you know, the light colors and the dark colors, that's what will give you this illusion that we need to be able to see. Because right? So it's value-wise, it is going to blend in somewhat with that tablecloth.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we can see it is because of the sunlight, right? And because of the way it refracts light. So, but we can't really see that so much. So here, all there is to do is a few references to where the darks are and where the lights are. Shine lights. We don't fuss with it other than that. You know?
And like, how about this edging line here, do I like border on it?
No, no, this is not, yeah. Because acrylic paints can dry, but like you could blend it while it's still, when it's not going to put at this stage. Here again, we're just establishing values, and because it's so paint, we see the blending from when we put on the colors. So we're being very, very like blocky, very like poster-like with it first,
Mm-hmm.
just to get, because we're generalizing, so
I have to help those books stand out. That might be all you need to get these books to stand out from one another. And, the reference to the agreement. We'll make sure let's put those in first. And then maybe that would be all we're gonna have time for. And then the next time, we can put in. What about?
Not really, stages of
Okay, all right, so here we're still in the stage where we're putting in, well, we think the Versailles, which is the grade scale. And that's just the overall blocking in of grade values. The next we put in, we're still working in the grayscale monochromatic stage, except that we're putting in the darkest dark, we're putting in the black.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying.
Actually, you're dark enough. You did a good job of using the two colors there to make that. But for your occlusion shadows, those are where your absolute darkest darks are. So that's why this is, you're at a good stage now to use this. Because this is like, you're like, brush that can probably help you get a further line. Right, wherever you see, whatever reads. You know what, it's okay if it's not perfectly straight line, because it's nice to see your own hand in there. That makes it much more paper rather than, like a technical. We like to see that. No, yeah, next week, unless I add another one. Another one, because so many of us have this one class, and we have another. I know some of us can't because.
How's that?
I know. It's all right. Well, things happen, weather happens, Yeah. Well, we don't need that. Okay, so we're going to stop the live stream. Let's go. Oh, there we go. All right. Uh-oh. Something happened.